If you're living in Dubai, chances are you've either thought about taking a personal loan or you know someone who has. It could be for something positive like a wedding, dream vacation, or renovating your home. Or it could be for more serious reasons like consolidating debt or covering medical bills. Although I don't advise you to take a loan for a wedding. Whatever the reason, personal loans are a big part of financial life here in the UAE. But here's the challenge. Almost every bank is advertising personal loans with flashy numbers like up to 3 million dirhams or lowest rates in the market. The truth is, those ads can be misleading if you don't know the fine print. So today we're going to deep dive into the best 3 banks for personal loans in Dubai. Or is there such a thing? We'll find out. I'll cover eligibility, maximum loan amounts, actual interest rates, advantages, disadvantages, and practical examples to help you understand what you can realistically get based on your salary and income level. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're building a Dubai-focused community of people who want to understand money better, and your support means we can bring you even more content. Alright, let's kick it off with Dubai Islamic Bank. Now, DIB is huge in this space because it's the largest Islamic bank in the UAE, and for anyone who wants Sharia compliant personal finance, this is usually the first name that comes to mind. Unlike conventional banks that charge interest rates, DIB structures their loans as personal finance based on a profit rate. For UAE nationals, you'll often see ads that say you can borrow up to 5 million dirhams, and for expats the cap is 3 million. But here's where we need to clear things up. Not everyone can walk into the bank and take home millions of dirhams. Personal loans in Dubai are tied directly to your salary. Most banks will allow you to borrow roughly 20 to 25 times your monthly salary. So let's say you earn 10,000 dirhams per month, the maximum you might get is around 200,000 to 250,000 dirhams. The UAE Central Bank also enforces a debt burden ratio rule, which means your total loan repayments, including credit cards, car loans, and personal loans combined, cannot exceed 50% of your salary. So if you make 10,000 dirhams, your maximum monthly repayment is capped at 5,000 dirhams. That's why those up to 5 million offers really only apply to people with extremely high salaries. We're talking 50 to 100,000 dirhams per month or even more. So let's make this a little bit more practical. Imagine you earn 15,000 dirhams a month. Under DIB's rules, you could potentially qualify for a loan between 300 and 375,000 dirhams. If the profit rate is around 6% per year and you repay it over 4 years, your monthly installments would be roughly 4,200 dirhams. That still keeps you under the 50% DBR limit, but notice how different that looks from the flashy 5 million dirhams headline. This is why it's important to understand the mechanics behind the ads. The advantage of DIB is that it gives you that Sharia compliance, flexible repayment, and high potential ceilings. But the disadvantages are that expats usually get less favorable rates than nationals, and salary transfer is often required to unlock the best deals out there. Still, if Islamic finance is a priority for you, this is one of the best banks in Dubai, no questions asked. Next, let's move to Emirates NBD. This bank hardly needs an introduction. It's one of the largest and most popular in the UAE. What sets Emirates NBD apart is how quickly they process their loans. Many customers report approvals in as little as 24 to 48 hours, which is a lifesaver if you need funds urgently. Loan amounts can go up to 2 million dirhams for expats, and in some special cases, nationals can get up to 3 million. Again, that depends entirely on your salary. For example, if you're earning 20,000 dirhams per month, you might qualify for a personal loan of around 400 to 500,000 dirhams. But if your salary is 7,000 dirhams, the maximum will be closer to 140 to 175,000 dirhams. The repayment periods are flexible, 48 months for expats and 60 months for UAE nationals. When it comes to rates, Emirates NBD typically offers reducing rates starting from 5.99% per annum or flat rates as low as 2.63%, but those are usually reserved for salary transfer customers. And here's something a lot of people don't realize. Flat rates sound low, but when you convert them to reducing balance equivalents, they're usually much higher. For example, a 2.63% flat rate actually translates to around 4.75 to 5% on a reducing basis. So always compare apples to apples when looking at rates. The advantage of Emirates NBD is speed, flexibility, and its reputation, but the downside is that the best offers are only available if your employer is on their approved list, and if you don't transfer your salary, the rates jump up significantly. Now let's talk about ADCB, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank. Even though the name says Abu Dhabi, ADCB is very popular among Dubai residents, especially for personal loans. UAE nationals can borrow up to 4 million dirhams, while expats are usually capped at around 1 million, again depending on your salary level. Interest rates for nationals can start as low as 5.24% per annum, while expats typically see rates starting at around 6.49%. So let's run a quick example. If you earn 12,000 dirhams a month, you could qualify for a loan of roughly 240 to 300,000 dirhams, and at a rate of 6.49% rate over 48 months, you'd be paying around 5,700 dirhams per month. And that would actually exceed the 50% debt burden ratio, which means in reality the bank would either reduce your approved loan amount or extend your loan repayment terms to make sure your monthly repayment doesn't cross half your salary. That's why you'll often see banks advertise high maximums, but when you sit down and do the actual calculation and the math, your personal eligibility is much lower than that. What I really like about ADCB is its digital banking platform. Their app makes it super easy to track your repayments, see your outstanding balance, and even settle early if you want to. They also offer different types of loans depending on whether you transfer your salary or not. With salary transfer, you'll always get better terms, of course. Without it, you'll still get approved, but the interest rate will be higher and the maximum amount will be lower. The disadvantages are similar to the other banks. Fees, insurance costs, and early settlement penalties are common, so you always need to ask for a key fact statement before signing. Now let's step back and compare all three. Dubai Islamic Bank is best if you want Sharia compliance and are eligible for high finance amounts. Emirates NBD shines in speed and promotions, especially if you transfer your salary. ADCB offers competitive rates and one of the best digital experiences for managing your loan. But remember, the headline amounts like 3 million or 5 million are not realistic for someone earning 3,000 or even 7,000 dirhams. At that income level, you're usually looking at loans closer to 60 to 175,000 dirhams. The key factors that determine how much you can borrow are your salary, your employer, and your credit score, and whether you transfer your salary to that bank you're asking a loan from. Let me share my personal take. If I were applying for a personal loan today, I'd first consider Dubai Islamic Bank because I like the Sharia compliance structure and the large ceilings for people with higher salaries. But I'd also look at Emirates NBD if I wanted something processed quite quickly, especially since I know they often approve within a couple of days. And if I wanted to keep things digital and transparent, ADCB would also be another appealing option. Personally, I'd also sit down and calculate exactly how much of my monthly salary I can realistically afford to dedicate to repayments. Just because a bank offers you 200,000 dirhams doesn't mean you should take the full amount. Sometimes it's better to borrow less so you don't feel pressured by high installments every single month. And one last point, be very careful with personal loans. They can be a fantastic tool if you're using them for productive reasons, like paying for education, consolidating expensive credit card debt, or improving your home. But they can also become a burden if you're just using them for lifestyle expenses that don't generate any sort of return. The rule of thumb I follow is simple. If the loan is going into something that either grows in value or improves my financial position, I consider it. If it's just for consumption, I must think twice. And of course, a quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only. Always check the latest terms with the bank directly, read the fine print, and make sure you understand your obligations before signing anything. That's it for today's video. We just went through Dubai Islamic Bank, Emirates NBD, and ADCB, the top 3 banks for personal loans in Dubai in detail. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and drop a comment on which bank you've been using. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.